another installment of Feel Good Friday. I'm your host, Chris Marshall, and I'm wearing real pants for the first time since the last episode of Feel Good Friday. I'm also 2 weeks closer to going full caveman.
Oh, no, not cool. I did not know you were there.
Well, we have some fun activities and awesome news about our Kellogg community to share with you today. And don't forget, I want to hear from all of you as well. If you want to be featured on Feel Good Friday, send your recipes, pictures, and videos to eveningweekend@kellogg.northwestern.edu. Now on to the good stuff. Not only did we get my favorite kind, but also the happiest news you can hope to get. Sarah Peaceman and her husband welcomed a beautiful and healthy baby girl into the world Wednesday, April 8th at 2:30 p.m., coming in at 8 pounds, 12 ounces, and 21.5 inches long. Little Mara has spent her first 4 weeks with her parents, and all of them are doing great. She was also born with a full head of hair, which means she has a big head start on me, since I was bald for the first 2 and last 10 years of my life. I turned out pretty cool, so I'm expecting big and exciting things from this little lady. Mara also wants you to know that she has been at home social distancing, even though it looks like she went to the salon and got highlights. She hopes to meet more people soon, but she is already learning the joys of Zoom Hangouts and Jackbox gaming. I want in on the next game of Fibbage. Last week, Dean Kay got us all inspired with her home crafts game. I was so inspired that I drew this picture of myself playing soccer. See, there's the ball, and I've got a trophy, of course. But feel free to submit your self-portraits as well. Now for some real talent. Rebecca Howland has gotten back into knitting, crocheting, and sewing. She did a lot in college, and now that we're in virtual classes, it helps her stay focused. Here's her cat, Wolf, modeling her first 2 projects: a crocheted necktie and a shirt made out of Harry Potter socks. Her other cat, Grim, in typical cat fashion, is a grump and refuses to get in on the fun. I, for one, am looking forward to my new crochet bow tie to arrive. Next up, Jessica Rodella is also putting her art skills to good use after she noticed people are appreciating social outreach more now that we're isolated. So she started creating handmade cards with positive messages to send to people. And as she got more requests for them, she decided to open an Etsy shop. I knew she had excellent penmanship from class, but these designs are next level. You can find her on Instagram and Etsy at paper_petal_designs for all your handmade card needs. Congratulations are in order for Julio Morales, who got promoted to brand manager at Conagra Brands. Awesome job, Julio. Make sure to send us all of your good news on the job front, as well as any positions your company might be hiring for. Now, I know last week I shared with you that I'm a pretty avid runner. I mean, I've been on a run before. And if you know me, then you already know that I'm what some might call competitive. So since I don't have co-ed recreational sports as an outlet, and I've been watching The Last Dance for inspiration, I made it known around the neighborhood that I don't think anyone on the block could beat me in a 100-yard dash. One of my 23-year-old neighbors accepted the challenge.
Hold away!
Not today, Junior. Just put this here. Nate Jocelyn has also been out working on his fitness. Now let's witness. He even got some brand new hiking shoes. Initially, these were for a hiking trip to the Zion National Park that unfortunately got rescheduled, but don't worry, he's finding all of the serious off-road terrain in Lincoln Park. Now, all of you have met Tim Cahill, but what you may not know is that he is a huge movie buff, and he's got some themed movie recommendations for you. And as if I hadn't already been eating enough during quarantine, Tim's movie recommendations are food-themed. First up, Big Night. Stanley Tucci and Tony Shalhoub are brothers running a failing Italian restaurant who are trying to save their business with one big night. Next up, Babette's Feast. A French refugee cooks a decadent feast for the strict religious Danish village that gave her a home. Next, The Lunchbox, an Indian romance film about a woman who makes lunches for her husband, but they end up getting delivered to the wrong man, a lonely widower, who she starts a correspondence with. Next, Tampopo, a very funny Japanese film about a woman who wants to transform her poor restaurant into a real ramen shop with the help of a traveling truck driver. The movie also cuts to short vignettes about people and the myriad of ways they interact with food. Next, Chef. Jon Favreau's cute father-son food movie about a chef reuniting with his son and his passion for cooking after an embarrassing public humiliation. And finally, the scene from Goodfellas where they're in prison and they slice the garlic really thin with a razor blade. The rest of the movie has little to do with food, but the scene with the garlic is great. Keeping with the food theme, let's check out some of the great Kellogg bakers in action. Billy Barkhausen made a giant chocolate peanut butter cookie pie that looks like something I'd tried to finish in a single sitting. He recommends topping it with a little vanilla ice cream, which sounds fantastic. Karina Wernecki has also been busy in the kitchen making all of these delicious treats. I'm not gonna lie, I would fight someone for a bag of those homemade eclairs. But everything else looks fantastic too. You can follow her baking journey and check out her recipes on her new Instagram page at KMW Bakes. And then there's Laxmi Casarineni, who not only is working on her cooking and baking skills, but also her photography skills. I mean, wow, look at all this stuff. I want to eat all of it. Hashtag influencer. No word yet on an Instagram, but I can tell you that she has a follower waiting right here. And I mean, if she can make food look this good, I might have her take a crack at my headshot. I don't see how someone could not hire me if I looked as good as that flatbread. You can also find some of my cooking exploits at crappy_kitchen on the gram. Next up, devastatingly handsome marketing professor, Mr. McTeague, who got the coveted 5 out of 5 sneakers in the Chris Marshall teacher rating system. They're Jordan 5s. Thought I'd give you a little Schumer to brighten your day. Well, if you have taken Mr. McTeague's marketing or advertising classes, then you know he is quite the breakfast food expert. If you haven't, you should. Advertising strategy was my favorite class at Kellogg. So when I discovered these Jimmy Dean breakfast corn dogs, I knew he would be the perfect person to help me reach peak enjoyment. Do you happen to have any on hand?
Hi, Chris. Hey, so glad you asked. I do happen to have some delicious Jimmy Dean pancake and sausage on a stick. I'd love to share some with you and talk a little bit more about them.
Well, this is just great. I can't wait to get started, but first I have to ask, where do these delicious bundles of breakfast joy come from?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Generally speaking, they come from the Loire Valley in France, but I've planted some in my backyard. Now with the weather, I'm not sure how they're turning out, but we can go take a look. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's coming in nicely.
Okay, so now I know how they're made and that I need to plant a couple in the backyard, but what's the best way to prepare them?
Well, the best way to do it is in like a green egg smoker over cedar chips for 4 to 5 hours. But if you don't have that kind of time, you can microwave it for 1 minute in a paper towel in your microwave. You can dip it in syrup, but it is impregnated with some syrup in the batter. That's good. It's hot. It's hot. That's good.
I've got my syrup handy, but are there any drink pairings you'd recommend?
Well, that's a question I get all the time. Typically like a Sancerre, it goes best with a white. I think a French white, owing to its origins. I'm getting notes of apricot. That's good stuff. Thanks for asking, Chris, and I hope you enjoy yours.
Wow, that is really delicious. Now I'm in the kitchen. This week's recipe comes from Jenny Thielen. She made these lemon cardamom cinnamon rolls for Mother's Day.
Hi, we're making lemon cardamom cinnamon rolls for Mother's Day. It's hard saying lemon cardamom cinnamon rolls. Try saying it 5 times fast.
And what are we doing now?
Putting in the lemon cardamom sugar cinnamon mixture.
Perfect.
I'll post the full recipe at the end of the video for you ambitious bakers out there. I'm looking at you, Billy, Laxmi, and Karina. This week's drink recipe comes from Carrie. It's a beer. And while I do love beer and I applaud her commitment to the joke we made last week, I'm going to need you guys to be a little bit more creative for the next episode. I've been to the bar with you. I see those fancy drinks you're drinking with the giant ice cubes. Help me help you, or next time we're going to get stuck with Jose Cuervo neat. Anyway, I'm going to make a bourbon maple fizz. I've got my drink and I am ready to start the weekend. Make sure to keep us in the loop with what you're up to. Send all your recipes, pictures, and videos to eveningweekend@kellogg.northwestern.edu or find me on Slack. I'm looking forward to hearing about all the fun and exciting ways you're all spending your time. Have a great night and I'll see you next time. But until then, here's Ann Stevens playing us out again this week with another Beatles classic. Cheers.